Grand rising, grand rising, grand rising, grand rising, beloveds, love, and immunity. This morning, as I did my morning walk and communioned with life, myself, my thoughts, the present moment, and this message, um, God brought me into this testimony this morning, and it is powers and principalities. See, beloveds, first thing I want to let you guys know is that my intent is for life and life only. My intent is not to change anybody, any person, any place, or anything. The truth of that matter is that I can't change anyone. But what I can be is a sound mind, a sound voice, and a messenger of something that I have been a messenger, a witness, and a testimony, and a testament of. So I just share. Um, I want no one to believe that my intentions are to call anybody out. That's not my intentions, beloveds. I don't have to call anybody out. I've been through enough in my life to know that my intention for all of this is to ensure that we have awareness of why we go through the things that we go through, why we treat each other the way that we treat each other, because we don't understand there's a higher calling on life that many of us have never been taught. Many of us don't even know exist. And when we don't know these things, we become powers and we become principalities. And a power and a principality is a stronghold. And this stronghold, beloveds, let me tell you, because you don't break strongholds. There's nothing that will break a stronghold but truth. See, this is why Jesus said the truth will set you free. And another thing that God was working with me on last night is understanding that we all are life. So when a seed, each and every one of us are God's living kingdom. We are a seed and we are a branch. Each one of us is a branch that grew from that seed. We are all one branch, and our branches go out in it. What it's supposed to do is it's supposed to feed life, the immunity. But see, when you are not an immunity to life, you are a power and you are a principality and you are a stronghold. It's like the thief who comes to kill, steal, and destroy. See, many people forget that our only right, we have the only one right, beloveds. We have the only one right, and that is life. And when you take this life and you steal from it, say that there's a seed that is matured. They've matured into their living right, not into conformity, but into their living right. This seed only got there because of the truth. It's not like I got where I got today because God just gave me this. I got where I got today because I did the work. I didn't steal anybody's testimony. I didn't try to take anybody's word and turn it into mine. I didn't try to copycat anybody. I didn't try to take what wasn't mine from anybody. See, when we steal from life, it can never be added on to us. We never gain the maturity. We never gain the maturity in order to be in the position to be a messenger of life. See, this is a power and a principality. A power and a principality is a stronghold. What it does to you and I, because we forget that we are pure consciousness. And this is why it told us don't conform. You never conform this consciousness, which is the renewed mind. It's the directive to know that it's just like the breath. We know that that breath's only job is to bring in inhalation and exhalation. It's to breathe with nature and bring it back into nature. It has a specific duty, and it's his only job, beloveds. It's the breath of life. It is only job is to ensure the life of the living kingdom. That's it. It has no other job. It has no other directive. And it will go on eternally, immortally being to continue to do this in every form of existence or every living kingdom that will ever become the living kingdom, the body of existence, beloveds. So this is how innate, like when I say innate, I mean it's intelligence. Innate means that you are an intelligence. And I spoke about this, that how we just cover up things, how we just deny things, how we just justify why this happens and that happens. No, I can't change anyone. I'm not telling anyone to change, because the very fact is that each and every one of us are a seed. And see, the thing about being a seed is intelligence. And many, like, coming into this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful journey that I am on right now, learning appreciation, just learning appreciation for everything, beloveds. It wasn't an easy it wasn't an easy journey getting here. And what wasn't easy was the powers and the principalities and the strongholds. And see, the thing about the powers and the principalities and the strongholds, they're living. They're living. They're living intelligences. And their powers and principalities, because they don't understand this is an intelligence. Spirit is intelligence. They haven't got the understanding that when you become this intelligence's conformity, now you direct its ways. Now you give on to it. You become the stronghold. It's you who are the stronghold. And stronghold's only job is to be a power and a principality, which means that they sit there like, the guards in front of the royal kingdoms, and the guards, you can come up and you can talk to them and they can't move, they can't say nothing to you. Well, that's what the power and the principality is. It's a stronghold. These men are strongholds. They're only to hold consciousness and be aware of never letting anybody enter into that kingdom. Never letting anybody come into that kingdom. Their whole focus, their whole conformity is on that one job. This is why they can't take their memory, which is their mind, off of focusing on that one thing. That's their only job. Anybody comes and talks to them, beloveds, they can't move, they can't talk, they can't respond. Well, that is what a stronghold is. That's what a power and a principality is. It means that that person has been programmed. That's that person's program. See, when we take this mind and we conform it into anything, now we are its master. We are its master, beloveds. See, God gave us free will. We are all free will beings, beloveds. And see, the thing about life is that God wanted me to show us that we just steal life. We take life's growth, we take life's evolution, we take life's immunity, and we turn it into a power and a principality, which is a weapon formed against itself, which is you. And once you become the weapon, which is the power and the principality, you're now the stronghold. And that power and that principality is going to use you. See, God's only job is to ensure life. Like that man who stands in front of the royal kingdoms, his only job is to ensure the safety of that kingdom. So that's what life's job is. Life's job is to ensure the safety of this kingdom, the living kingdom, the innate kingdom. See, your innate kingdom is intelligence. And see, what that intelligence will do if we don't abide in it is it will use the power and the principality to ensure, like that guard does, that nothing can come into that kingdom. See, you learn to have an intelligence when you are the seed and you become the evolution of that branch, and then you can reach out and feed other nations. But when you're a power and a principality, you're placed in that position, because we have to remember, this is God's kingdom. No matter what we want to believe, this is not our kingdom, beloveds. If you are conformed, this is not your kingdom. You refused. You refused to be in the presence of God, which is intelligence. You see, I didn't have this sight. I didn't have this knowledge. I didn't have this wisdom before. This is why I can speak it. So you don't have to steal this from me. I'm here to be able to, because I evolved. I got to the position where that I can share evolution with itself. So when you come and you steal from your own existence, you bypass the maturity that you need to do in the innate kingdom. And when you are a thief that comes to kill, steal, and destroy, what you do is it's like God comes like a thief in the night and takes back what is his. I number your days. I make you work harder. I make you destroy anybody with that same motive. I turn you into the double-edged sword. We can call it the law of polarity. It's like an eye for an eye. If I'm life, life will come back to me. If I hurt life, life will hurt me. It'll always come back. The law of polarity teaches us this, beloved, because there's only one law. It's called life. I came to give you life, and we can only serve one master. So powers and principalities, they are strongholds. And when you get put in that stronghold, you're stuck. Just like that guard that sits in front of the royal kingdoms, he's stuck. He can't move. His only job is that stronghold. And we don't ever want to be strongholds, beloveds, because strongholds, they are lessons that we must learn. So when we steal from life, what do you think life is going to do to us? Life is going to refuse us to be the immunity of the knowledge. My people perish because of lack of knowledge. So you're going to perish. I'm going to come like a thief in the night and take back what is mine. That means that you won't be the evolution of life. You're going to have to learn lessons and tests. See, I had to learn this the hard way. Every day, I'm speaking to my powers and my principalities and my strongholds. And God, this morning when I was walking, God was showing me what a power and a principality is. God was showing me that it's a psychopath. See, a psychopath is a power and a principality. See, what psychopaths don't understand is that their mind is imprisoned. Psychopaths' minds are imprisoned. And see, the thing about a psychopath is they're not bad people, beloveds. They're not bad people. But surely if you eat from the tree of that knowledge, you're going to have to die by it until you break the stronghold. See, life is not about your race. Life is not about your sex. It's not even karma. What we call karma is our stagnation inside of a living kingdom. Karma is just stagnation. It's when your maturity inside of this kingdom, because this is a spiritual kingdom, and you are going through like witches. You know how witches they have to go through learning the magics of life. They're not doing witchcraft or anything that we have learned. See, the psychopath is the one who would make us think that magic is, and there's no such thing as magic, beloveds. I just have to use our words. I wish I can use something other, but I cannot talk to a mind in its own language if it is conformed to a doctrinated language. So I have to use your own words. I wish I can use your knowledge to speak to you, which is just discernment, beloveds. It's a discernment. You see how God showed me how to understand the power and the principality through the guards in the royal that guard the royal kingdoms? That's a knowledge. It's like I don't have to understand this. This is why they're there. They're there for that reason, to be the power and the principality and the stronghold, to ensure that no one else can enter into the royal kingdom. That royal kingdom is there because it ascended its soul to a point where it can use those who haven't grew, those who haven't matured in the soul, which is the spiritual kingdom. So it's really not a punishment, beloveds. It is a way to mature yourself. This was the hardest part for me coming into this situation, because at the age of 5, I knew who I was. But the powers and the principalities and the strongholds, they're like sociopaths and psychopaths and narcissists. And see, when we deny truth, when we deny truth, when we don't address truth, when we don't walk in our truth, we become these strongholds and these powers and these principalities. And what we do is that we pass that. It's like, we can call it a sin or a transgression. We pass that down to generations upon generations upon generations. This is why it says, you come back here to break the ancestral karma. You, the chosen one. So you can't take from something that this chosen one was already predestined in their mother's womb. You can't steal from life, beloveds. Everyone who came before me, who didn't ensure that you were the next predestined chosen one or the next predestined seed, they stole from life. And that's why you, the next seed of life, didn't get that memory cell. Because they didn't do the work. And then when somebody comes to do the work, it's because they don't have this stronghold over them anymore. They're not the power and principality. They are here to break the barriers, to break the strongholds for the next generations. But you, oh gosh, you can't even understand. This is why it says the battle was not yours, it's the Lord's. No weapon formed against you shall prosper. See, I didn't get this for a long time. That's why I was born eternal. I was born eternal for the very reason that it was my armor. It was my living armor. It was to prove to me that I ascended. And the only way that you can ascend is through me. But if you steal from life granted me this ascension, this evolution, so that I can become a teacher. Hey, Grand Rising best friend, that I can become a teacher to help you break strongholds for the next generations. All we are is a tree. We're a seed. In each and every one of us in our mother womb, we have a predestined memory. It's called a cell. It's a memory cell. That's what chose us in our mother's womb. Remember all those cells that swam up in her womb? All those cells had a purpose. Either you were the chosen one, either you were the stronghold, you were one of those seeds. And see, we come here with a lesson, or we come here as a teacher or a master. I try not to get into all those words because I don't want anybody to think that I am better than them, or that I believe that I am better than them. Do you know, all of my life I heard people telling me, you think you too good. You think you know everything. But I didn't know. I didn't believe any of those things. But these people were literally telling me who I was. But in me, it was like, that's wicked, that's evil, that's hurting me. I just am who I am. This is who I am. I can't be anything other than what I am, beloveds. And this is why it says, judge ye not unless ye want to be judged. It's really trying to help us see the power and the principality that has turned each and every one of us these seeds of life. We are here to do nothing but in this kingdom but to ascend it. We are the ascension of life itself. See, life can't ascend itself without you. It can't be whole within itself without you. Remember, it would just be the spirit, like the air, like the breath. Breath has no existence without it going into the kingdom of life. It goes into the trees and then it comes back into you. It goes out into the, it's just one mechanism. It has but one directive. You and I, we have but one directive, beloveds. And that one directive is just life. It's not conformity. It's not being black. It's not being a race. It's not being a sex. That is the power and the principality in the higher places. It's you not realizing that you are this consciousness, you this spirit, you this life force. And until you recognize, tell them, I am. Who are you? Do you really know who you are, beloveds? Do you truly know who you are? Because if you knew who you were, you would know, just like that breath, you have a job to do as that seed of life. And that means to make sure that your branch grows so that it can nourish all the branches of life, beloveds. If your branch is only nurturing this occult, this religion, this political status, you are a stronghold. You are a power and you are a principality. And you will never, ever, 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 ever be the embodiment of life, beloveds. You will never, ever be a chosen one, beloveds. And neither will any of your descendants ever gain that access. They will, Grand Rising Mom, they will never gain access to the tree of life. They will never receive that ascension from life. Doesn't make us wrong, doesn't make us right. It says, surely don't eat from that tree of good and evil, because none of this is truly good or evil, right or wrong. It is a power and a principality that's placed itself, life, under a stronghold until it is mature enough to become a seed that can nourish the vessels or the evolution. So you can't keep stagnating your nation, denying your nation. See, the nation that the Bible is speaking about is the seed. Because we can't understand what a nation is without that seed being chosen in the woman's womb, in Earth herself, in Mother Earth herself. She carries, and I'm getting the chills. She carries our memories. So her vessel, and thank you, God, thank you, Grandma, thank you, Grandmas, thank you, Mama, thank you, all of you guys, thank you, thank you. She carries our legacy. So what everybody did before us, but we all have to remember, as a culture, as a race, because we denominalized ourselves. It's got to be one person that we accept. See, it's like you got to accept God into your life. Many people won't accept God when God returns. God is not going to return in nothing but itself. Don't you know God is a seed? It's like the atom who formed into the cell, which is the molecule, the seed of life, that became the image, was the body of existence. That's what God is. That's all God is. And this body is its child. And we are all God's children. And we're supposed to grow that seed, which is God, into this kingdom called life. That's it. We have no other responsibility to the world. This is why it says, what does a man profit if he gains the whole world but loses his soul? We have no other responsibility to the world. We have a responsibility to life. Every one of our children, every one of our brothers and sisters, Every last one of us is one connection. That one seed, that one cell started colonizing itself into bodies of existence. That very first woman that y'all don't understand, born all of us, was one woman, Mother Earth herself. She created a seed. She had a love for life so bad, or so beautiful. And we didn't distorted the very perception of life. We didn't distorted the very truth of life when it is a biology of its own self. And it tells its own story, beloveds. It's a book of life. It tells its own story. But we didn't give it over to religion. We didn't give it over to pastors. We didn't give it over to priests. We didn't give it over to ministers. We didn't give life over to the flesh. And the flesh can take this beautiful truth and turn it into a weapon formed against all of us. Surely, if you eat from the knowledge of that tree of good and evil, who are the people who tell us what is right and wrong? Who teaches us about good and evil? Just ask yourself this question. This is not to call anybody out. See, intelligence is just intelligence. Its only job is to have eyes to see and ears to hear. Evolution. Not to keep growing that world, not to keep creating more powers and principalities and strongholds, but to break the curses that live amongst each and every one of us. See, when the chosen one comes, it's because God has returned. Somebody matured that seed so that we can free. It's like, what's her name that freed all the slaves? She was a chosen one. And she said, I wish my people would have known that they were never slaves, that they were already free. And how Jesus said, the truth will set us free. The only thing is that why we're not free is because we are our own stronghold, beloveds. You are living in a living kingdom. And just like that guard's job for the royal family is to keep anybody out of it. You can't ascend to something you haven't earned your ascension to ascend into. Although we may think the royal families are bad, God takes care of all of that. God takes care of all of that. I couldn't get where I was today, beloveds, without me taking care of my powers and my principalities and my own strongholds. I didn't get here because nobody else. I got here because I did the inner work. I fought my own demons. I faced my own demons, which made me be able to see how to break the strongholds of all my people's demons, all my people's powers and principalities and strongholds. But the thing about that is we have to understand who we are, why we're here, so you can understand you're not here to fight against me. I'm not here to fight against you. I'm here so that we as a nation can walk out of that wilderness. But we cannot do it if we come against life on any form of its existence. It automatically turns you into a power and a principality and a stronghold. And it will use you like that guard to ensure that no one can get into that ascension, which is that royal kingdom, the kingdom of life. So you will come back as another seed. Your next generation will come back with that stronghold as the power and principality, with the memory cell of that, what we would call a sin or a transgression. It's not a bad thing, beloveds. It's just not a bad thing. It's just that we live in an intelligence. We live in an innate kingdom, and this innate kingdom's only job is to ensure eternal, immortal life, beloveds. And until you become the seed that's able to feed life, not the world, not religion, not racist, not sexist, not beliefs, not doctrine, but the memory cell. Until you are able to ascend the memory cell, which is the cell's evolution, I came to give you life, you are power in the principality and the stronghold. You don't ascend. You don't move on. And then you have people like false prophets, idols, statues, and other people, which are just strongholds, playing God over you. That's how it works. Is it a good or a bad thing? No, because there's no such thing as good and evil. Surely, if you keep eating from that knowledge is not real. That knowledge is the power and the principality and the stronghold. It's trying to tell you that's what death is, beloveds. That's what death is. Death is when you feed your own seed of life a knowledge that is not an intelligence to life. It's just like the breath's only job every day. Your breath's job is to ensure the body of life. Beloveds, that's just what it is. It has no other directive. It's not going to do any other thing for life but to do what it came for its own intelligence to this body to do. Just like the blood. Do you understand what the blood's job to do for this body is? It says, guard your heart through the well springs of life flow. What is your heart? The heart is the purification. It purifies the blood. That's why it says our heart in Pharaoh's heart. I made Pharaoh infect his own kingdom. That's what happens when we are power in the principality and the stronghold. We poison ourselves, beloveds. God don't care about anything of that world. God is not asking us to do anything in that world. I came to give you life. Stand still and know that I am God. God is asking us to become that seed, that ascension of that seed, so that we now can nourish all the bodies of life, not of the world. You don't want to be a legacy to money. You don't want to be a legacy to a race. You don't want to be a legacy to something material. You want to be a legacy to that seed that's going to have to come back generations and generations to be strongholds. How many people you got out there powering the world, keeping that world alive, and all of your people is suffering, been enslaved, ain't never broke their strongholds. Because the minute that somebody in your nation rises, those powers and principalities and all those people with that stronghold, what do they do to you? What do they do to you? Not because they're a race. It has nothing to do with being a race. Because the minute you get this information, it's like Pharaoh. I gave Pharaoh, I chose Pharaoh. He was a chosen one. And he took that beautiful immunity that I gave to him to break those strongholds for his descendants. See, y'all didn't understand that those people that Pharaoh was enslaving, they were his descendants as well. Anything that we do against life is just a power in the principality, in the stronghold. It's a memory cell. And when God hardened Pharaoh's heart, it was for the very reason that Pharaoh will now be a king. All king's jobs, the king's job is it's the worldly understanding of what we have done to the living kingdom. It's when you get this power, when you have this authority, when you have this Holy Spirit, and you take it and you enslave it, you turn it into something that's not living. You see what Pharaoh was doing to his own people? He had the power to feed his nation. He had the power and the ability to ensure that that nation evolved itself into something where slavery didn't exist or strongholds didn't exist. I mean, if you have that power, if you have you have been given the chosen spirit, I mean, your descendants did the work so that you can be the chosen one. And you take this memory, you take this consciousness, you take this a beautiful agape spirit, and you use it for the world. That's what Pharaoh did. He used it for the world. He conformed that spirit to the world when he was supposed to be breaking those strongholds and those generational curses for his people. See, we haven't had a royal family yet, or a chosen one yet, that has done that for life. There hasn't been not one person who's done that for life, beloveds. Because we would all realize the truth. We would all be standing right now today in that living truth as its memory cell. Every child born from here out today, this is why the mind gets so diabolical. The mind it's carnal, it's sinful. It's not given the truth. It will never get the truth until somebody is ascended to the point where they can understand everything. And when they come, what do you guys do? Why do you think they came? How did you think they got here, beloveds? They did not get here by being a thief. They did not get here by killing, stealing, and destroying. They got here because their seed, their memory cell, did the work. That memory cell that came before them did the work. That memory cell that came before them did the work. That memory cell before them did the work. And you happened, remember all those beautiful, beautiful cells in your mother's womb. How many of those cells could have been chosen? And you happen to be the one to make it into that kingdom of life. You. Come on, beloveds. You got to know who you are. Tell him I am sent me. And every one of us, we have the choice to choose who we gonna serve. And we have the choice to become a power and a principality in the stronghold, to enslave our nation, to enslave our people, until we get our shit right. And until that next seed can transform and renew that mind, which is that memory cell. Until that seed is capable of doing that, your nation don't ever rise. Okay? Your nation is fallen from grace. It is the fallen angel, beloveds. You got to see life on a higher evolution than the one of the world, than the one of the tree of the knowledge that does not belong to us. We are descendants of life, or what you call God. And that seed, until it ascends inside of this kingdom, remember the kingdom of heaven lives within. It don't live in the world. What does a man profit if he gains the whole world but loses his soul? Don't you know your soul is the seed of life? And it is a power and a principality and a stronghold into your ass. Pay back your debts. And see, the thing about paying back a debt is very hard. It's hard to pay back a debt. It's very hard. Not only are you fighting against your own brothers and sisters, your own family, you trying to break mentalities, you trying to break strongholds, you trying to break everything that is there to keep you out of the royal kingdom, you out of life. So if I don't have no help, if I don't have nothing there, trying to help me help y'all, you don't get you. I just ascend. I'm going to ascend because I'm already ascended. I was chosen already. I'm going to keep going on. And anybody who I can lead with me, anybody who can follow me, you already ascended. If you don't look back like Lot's wife did, if If you don't look back like she did, you gonna go. You passing over. You rising and you passing over. But if you want to keep taking God's information, God's knowledge, and God's wisdom and going back into the world with it, like Lot's wife did, you're gonna turn into a pillar of salt. What is a pillar of salt? Back into the nothingness in which you came from. You didn't come from life. You came from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. That's death. Surely you will die from it. That's what the pillar of salt represents, beloveds. That's where you're going to go. You're going to return back to the grave, which is the kingdom of death. You're going to be born again to die. You're going to live to die. That's going to be your memory cell forevermore until you ascend that seed. That's it. Life is beautiful and it's not hard. The only hard part about life is all y'all powers and principalities and strongholds. If y'all wasn't in my way, I could have did my job a long time ago. But they don't want you, life, to help them. They hate life. And when I say that, I don't say this to offend anybody. They hate life. They will steal from what God brought on to them to evolve them. They'll take this knowledge. Oh, yes, I'm powerful. I'm almighty. They'll turn into a motherfucking pharaoh on your ass. And God then blessed you to break their strongholds. And they strongholds ain't broke. You don't break strongholds in the world. You don't take God's kingdom out into the world and conform it to a pillar of salt. What do you think you turn into? What is the stronghold? What is the power and principalities in the higher places, the wickedness and the evil? Who do you think that is, beloveds? Who do you think been trying to stop me this whole time from rising my nation? Pharaohs. What was Moses trying to tell Pharaoh? I'm trying to just tell you what God told me. I'm trying to tell you exactly what God told me for you and your people as well. Your people is God's people. You, my people. I'm just, tell him I am sent me. God sent me here for you. I'm the ascended master or whatever you call like Jesus. I'm the Christ consciousness. I am the one who has the intelligence now to teach my people how to rise from the powers and principalities and the strongholds. Break all of the chains. But you cannot break a chain in the world. You cannot break a chain with money. You cannot break a chain because you got buildings and you got businesses and you a CEO and you a president. You got to break the innate kingdom. See, it is not Pharaoh who is keeping you out of that kingdom. It's life. You forget who chose you in your mother's womb? Limb by limb, cell by cell, tissue by tissue, organ by organ. Who is directing your ways even though you can't see this? Oh yeah, it ain't no joke, beloveds. Don't you ever think that the devil is doing that. You are the devil. And this is something many people won't understand. If you got a stronghold and the power and the principality ruling your life, it's your own spirit. It's your own soul. You haven't ascended to the point where you can be a teacher of life, where you have authority to call those things to be and they must be. See, I know my word is bond. I always knew my word was bond. I knew the power of my word. Oh, I knew it. And God showed me at a very early age not to play with this blessing. Don't nobody ever want me to get mad at them. Don't nobody, and I know this to be true. Because I am a soul. When I no longer fuck with you, I no longer fuck with you. I ain't gonna ever hurt you though. But when God take back his immunity from you and me, it's a done data. You don't ever play with the child of the Most High. And nobody gets this. I came for you. If God placed me in your life, if God made me come before you, because you was the one who been putting in the work. And birds of a feather, they flock together. But if you let all those powers and principalities and all those strongholds get in your ear, that those people that don't want to see you exceed and you rise and you get further than them, and they ain't got nowhere. They nowhere. That's why they got to serve the world, beloveds. They can't serve life. And this is not to condemn anybody. This is the truth. This is the only thing that's going to set our nation free, beloveds. Free and free indeed. I wish my people would have known that they were already free. And this is why a lot of people, they can't help our nation. They can't help our nation. We are our own stronghold. We are our own weapon formed against each other. We refuse. Do you know right now, I can build organizations with you guys to help us evolve our mentality, to help us evolve that seed, that memory cell. And do you know, I've been reaching out to all my people. Do you know what they've done to me, beloveds? It's a sickness. It's a sin. It's a transgression. It's a hate. How you ever going to evolve your people when you evolve in the world? You know who all of our leaders are? Our leaders. They're not for this internal ascension. They're not for this innate kingdom. They're not evolving us as a people, as a race, or as a body of God's existence. They're evolving a word. That you living in a living kingdom. This is where you have to evolve life. I came to give you life. How you evolving a building? You letting a building live on longer than our own sovereignty, our own dominion, our own living promise. And what I heard, this is it, beloveds. This is it. How long you think life gonna keep coming back for us? How long do you truly think life is gonna keep coming back for us and we just continue? Y'all can't understand the abuse I have had to endure. Never hurt anybody. Never tried to take anybody down. Never done anything against my people. It's like, God have mercy over my soul. God have mercy over my soul. I don't know how else to express this to anybody but through the truth. If you keep denying your ascension, eventually, what does a man profit if he continues to keep gaining that world and his soul is no longer willing to fight the battle for itself anymore? You know how I got this far? Living where I need to be fed. I need to be fed, people. Do you know every one of my cells drink of your immunity? Do you know that every one of our cells drink of our immunity? Did you know that? Remember that tree? Each one of us carry the immunity so that that tree can grow into a big giant kingdom called life. But we wanted to eat from the world's tree, which is that tree of good and evil. We didn't want to stay in our own kingdom. Do you know what this color comes from? Do you truly know what you ascended from? Not only did you ascend all other nations and all other races and all other kingdoms, and yet, where's our sovereignty? Where's our nation? Where's our people? Where's our memory cell? Where's our knowledge? Time. It's time to think about what we've been doing to one another. It's truly time. Every day, I have to choose who I'm going to serve. I'm not in the position that I am in because I'm lazy. I'm not in the position that I am in because I don't do the work. I'm not in the position that I am in because of any other reason, but because my people don't sow seeds into their own nation. So if no one has ever told you this on this day or any other day, beloveds, I'm going to continue to say it. Love and immunity. Have an amazing day, beloveds. As my only intent is to life and life abundantly. And until we put in the work to ascend our nation, we are the power, the principality, and the stronghold. Just like Lot's wife, nothing but a pillar of salt. You're going to come back and come back until you get it right. You cannot enter into a royal kingdom without the bloodline, pure, righteous, and one in all things. Have an amazing day, beloveds. Thank you guys for joining me.